Welcome. You are tuned into In the Mix with Crissy. Thank you for joining me. I'm thrilled to be your plug for a 21st century therapy experience, one that is relaxed, fun, and embracing. These qualities are important for many reasons, including helping individuals to understand that therapy has come a long way since previous centuries. My desire is for you to deal with real issues in a real way, no pretense, no facade, no mask, real talk from a real heart straight to you to help you achieve your best life. Not just because Snoop Dogg and Lil Duval put it into a song, but because you deserve it. As we delve into our discussion, self-care is not selfish. I am sure your learning experience will be enjoyable. Let's get started. We live in a fast-paced, high-demand world. As a result, stress follows. What is needed is a life of balance and boundaries. Balance can keep us centered, and boundaries keep us safe and sane. We obtain balance and boundaries through self-care. I am fully aware that implementation of self-care will vary from person to person, but do note that you will not live an overall healthy life if you do not engage in self-care. When I discuss self-care with patients, there are times self-care seems like a foreign language. Some individuals are so accustomed to caring for others that the idea of self-care seems selfish. Here's a thought. If you deem care important for others and not for you, ask yourself, when did you become unimportant and insignificant? I understand that you've held the facade of being able to take care of everything all the time. You are not about to say that you are tired and drained. You've created an image that you are convinced you have to keep it up. You can't allow others to see you fall apart, to see you as incapable of being all things to all people. But remember, in the absence of self-care, stress can lead to many mental health consequences, such as anxiety and depression, as well as physical illnesses such as diabetes, hypertension, strokes, heart disease, and can also lead to dysfunctional, dissatisfying relationships. Self-care is not selfish. In fact, self-care is as necessary as food and water. If you need a regimen to keep your life running effectively, then do so through effective self-care. Burning yourself out ultimately helps no one, especially not you. Let's take a break and I'll return with trending talk on In the Mix with Crissy. Welcome back to Trending Talk on In the Mix with Crissy. World Health Organization defines self-care as the ability to promote and maintain health and cope with or without the support of a healthcare provider. Examples provided for self-care are good sleep hygiene, healthy food intake, and physical exercise. With this definition in mind, it makes sense that pulling away from your stressful day-to-day responsibilities and demanding relationships to take care of yourself is not selfish. Taking a peek into the world of celebrities, let's see what is buzzing and booming. Some public figures are chiming in on mental health and how important it is to take care of yourself overall for well-being. Of course, it does not matter how financially well off you are or how famous you are. Taking time to provide self-care is needed for everyone, and when you don't, there are consequences to suffer. Take a look at what some celebrities are saying they have adapted as a part of their self-care routines. When interviewed by Parade magazine in April of 2019, Dolly Parton states that she tries to center herself by going back to her spiritual self. She asks God to anchor her. She also meditates. She thinks about good things and she takes a good hot bath. She also goes outside, she walks around, and she loves to see nature. Serena Williams states that she meditates as well, and it helps her to be better for her daughter and for her family. Jessica Alba states that working out helps with her stress, and it also helps to give her mind a break. Coming from Beyonce, she says that we have to take care of our bodies and what we put in them. We have to take time to focus for our own mental health and take time for self and for our spiritual self without feeling guilty or selfish. In the same month, Britney Spears commented to Chicago Tribune that she is taking care of herself after taking care of her father, who was dealing with health issues. Britney states that she needed to take time for herself, so she checked herself into a mental health facility for about a month. A couple of months prior, Justin Bieber was interviewed by Celeb Buzz. Here is a summary of what JB had to say. Fame comes with a price. Having people around all the time, feeling the need to be upbeat and on all the time to entertain and fit into the celebrity world proved to be too much. He stated he is now in counseling and he's working through some of the poor choices he made in order to fit into the lifestyle of a public figure. Last but certainly not least, the very beautiful and amazing former First Lady Michelle Obama speaks the following words to Parade magazine. I always try to remember that I'll be the best me I can be if I prioritize myself by getting the right exercise and sleep and time to recharge. It is not an option, she says, especially when I'm responding to pressure. Although there are not a lot of examples geared toward self-care for men, I am not surprised because men do not typically come to my office indicating they could use self-care. I have so much more to say on this topic, but time will not permit. I do intend to specifically address men's issues in the near future. In the absence of sufficient interviews from men on self-care, I did manage to come across an article and video, and it is posted by Laura McQuarrie, April 17, 2019. The title is Axe is Inviting Modern Men to Explore Masculinity, which explains the relaxing image you see before you. The article acknowledges that self-care marketing is primarily directed toward women. Axe Body Wash wants men to know that they need to invest in self-care as well. Shifting gears here, let's turn our attention to current concerns in government related to healthcare and self-care. A big deal about the healthcare bill for victims of 9/11 is being discussed. On June 12th, while actually taking a midday nap for self-care, I tuned into a discussion presented by Lynn Smith, who is the anchor person for the TV network Headline News. A clip of a very passionate hearing was shared. Jon Stewart, who is a strong advocate for surviving victims of 9/11, addressed the issue of healthcare funds for victims that are set to end in 2020. Stewart advocates for healthcare funds to be extended and postulates that victims are still dealing with medical and emotional issues and should continue to receive much needed healthcare. Lynn Smith followed the clip by indicating, be it physical or emotional, there are individuals who experience trauma and still need continued care 18 years later. To piggyback off this statement, what is being advocated by Jon Stewart and Lynn Smith is spot on as related to self-care and an overall quality of life. When individuals do not have sufficient ways to take care of their health, self-care is impeded. Knowledge of what self-care is definitely needed, but resources are also needed. 9/11 victim survivors and many others could use help in the political realm as related to effective resources for the implementation of self-care. We have got to do better in this area, and I'm confident that we will. I have shared the issues. Now we will take a break, and I'll see you in a moment right here on More Trending Talks. You're watching In the Mix with Crissy. I'd like to share with you some of the things I do for self-care. They include road trips alone, singing out loud and dancing, laughing out loud often, trying new recipes, getting a massage, also getting a mani-pedicure. Juicing is something else that I like to do. How about you consider creating some self-care tips for yourself? Feel free to tailor the following tips to your needs, your personality, and your style. I want you to be realistic and keep your goals attainable. So, why don't you try avoiding toxic, stressful relationships and conversations, monitor your food intake and beverages, cultivate good sleep hygiene, get regular exercise, and set healthy boundaries. I want you to be very careful of what you allow to enter into your senses. If you hear it, taste it, smell it, touch it, see it, it is going to impact you. So make good, healthy choices. Here's the reality of all that I have shared thus far. You might face a real challenge to overcoming negative thinking about self-care, thinking that it is selfish to tend to yourself so that you can be healthy overall is called negative, defeating thinking. Changing your mind about self-care can prove to be your greatest challenge. But once your mind is set, you can practice self-care principles. If you surround yourself with those who benefit from your self-neglect, those who do not understand or respect benefits of self-care, you are more likely to remain stuck. So try these. I want you to create a life path that includes balance. You can be good to others, and you can also be good to yourself at the very same time. I also want you to connect with like-minded people. As you grow and develop in the area of self-care, it is important to surround yourself with a support network of individuals. Next, I would like you to contact a coach or professional person to help with your personal growth if you need it. There are times when it is necessary to get an expert or professional involved, and if you need this type of intervention to plow through cemented thinking that is destructive and impede your ability to think about self-care in a healthy manner, do so. Finally, I want you to continue what you have started. Do not abandon your new course of action, regardless of what the challenge might be. I know that you can do it. I believe in you. You deserve it. Go forward, knowing that self-care is not selfish. Stay tuned, and I'll be right back with Real Talk and our special guest, Kathy Gordon. You're watching In the Mix with Crissy. I'm very excited to get started with our special guest. Joining us for Real Talk is Kathy Gordon. Welcome and thanks for being here, Kathy.
Thank you.
I'm excited to introduce someone who has a remarkable spirit, who is easy to talk and work with. Kathy is a licensed massage therapist in Texas and has been licensed since 2011. Her business, Balm & Fizz, was originated in Brattleboro, Vermont in 2017 by Kathy and her daughter, Olivia Larkin. Kathy is here to talk with us about the role of massage therapy in positively impacting physical, emotional, and mental health, and ultimately improving the overall quality of life. Here is the disclaimer. Nothing said here today is intended to replace or to treat any health conditions. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your healthcare regimen. Okay, Kathy, let's get started. First, I want you to tell me, how did you come up with the name Balm & Fizz for your business?
Well, we wanted something interesting that would catch attention and stick in people's minds. So balm stands for massage, lotion is balm, and fizz is for the bath products that we create ourselves from natural products. And so that's how we came up with the name, and it's something that will stick in someone's name if they forget or lose my business card.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. I want you to briefly describe some of the services you provide.
I provide, on the spa side, we provide body wraps, body scrubs, facials and foot treatments and hand treatments. Then on the massage side, we offer hot stone massage. We offer massage cupping, which is very beneficial and takes care of a lot of muscle issues. And then we offer the basic massage for people that just want either a sports massage or they just want a relaxing massage.
Okay, all righty. Okay, next question. Describe for us some of the chief complaints individuals present with when seeking therapy from you.
Back, a lot of them have like lower back issues, shoulder issues, neck issues, and also their thighs often. And those come from the jobs that we have sitting in front of a computer or driving a lot or just being on the phone a lot. So those are, or our exercise regimens do it to us. Those are the major complaints.
So for the sedentary lifestyle, you would definitely say massage therapy can be very helpful.
Yes, it's helpful for all walks of life, whether you just sit in a chair or if you are very active.
Oh, awesome. All righty, moving right along. Approximately 50% of the patients I treat are couples. By the time we meet for the first time, they are over the top stressed. These individuals also present with very little being done to implement self-care. If I were to talk with these couples about relaxing through massage therapy and how de-stressing through massage therapy as a couple might be beneficial, what would you say has been helpful based on your experience with massage therapy and couples?
I find that couples that come in together, it is very good for them, especially if they have limited time together, which in today's society between work and kids, we often work other shifts and we not see each other very well. So the time to take 2 hours and be on the table, and I do one after the other, and they can choose to be in the room or not. It's a personal choice. And sometimes they start out not together, and then as they come to see me several times, then they'll be in together. So I think it's just, and it just depends on the couple. But really, I teach them things to do at home to help themselves to relax with each other and ways that they can de-stress when they come home from work together.
So would you say that, although you can't guarantee, that the likelihood of individuals, couples, reconnecting emotionally and physically, the likelihood is more possible if they would take advantage of getting a massage together?
Yes, because it makes them more relaxed, and when they leave together, they're in the same space and they're able to go to lunch or to dinner or just, an afternoon activity and be relaxed as they do it.
Okay, all righty. Before I move on to my next question, I want to discuss what I have put in my book, Communication and You, Explore Issues and Enhance Relationships. In this book, I talk about the very first relationship we have is with ourselves. Before we can be good with and for anyone else, we must have a healthy relationship with ourselves. In this book are also tips and activities on how people can learn how to improve the way that they relate to themselves, their self-story, how they treat themselves, and then they can improve their relationships. So why don't you, when you have a moment, stop by Amazon or any of the local retail bookstores and pick you up a copy. Okay, let's go ahead and move on with our next question. I also work with children and teens who lead very busy, stressful lives with many things to accomplish in a day. If parents were to bring their children for massage therapy to manage stress and implement self-care, what would be the process?
Usually when the kids come in, depending on their age, any child under 16, I do require the parents to be in the room with them. And also we have to have parental consent under 18. But usually the children we discuss with the parent there what their needs are, what their sporting activities are, what they do in a day, and what their school stressors are and stuff. And then we work from there and we talk with the child and let them communicate how they feel. And that way we're able to work on the areas they need.
Is it easier to meet with children?
It's funnier sometimes. But no, children are much smaller. And so when you're trying to give them an hour massage, you have a half person. So, you know, it's a lot. There's difference, and you have to be more careful with children because their muscles and their bones and stuff are developing. And so it's a lot more, you need to be more conscious and know what you're doing.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on. What has been some of your challenges as a massage therapist?
You know, I think the most challenging thing is when I had a client recently and came in and he was in a wheelchair and could not get on my table. And so being able to relax him completely in his wheelchair and make him feel good and get rid of some knots in his body is a challenge.
Okay.
But at the end, he told me he loved me, so I'm good.
So obviously you did something good to be helpful, right? Awesome. Okay, Kathy, I want you to take a look into the camera, and I want you to tell our audience why self-care is important and why self-care is not selfish.
You know, Crissy, I did an article recently on self-care, and at that time I took a reflection of myself, and I realized that I spent a lot of time taking care of everyone else and forgetting myself. And that at that point I reflected on it, and I realized that taking care of myself is not selfish, because if I don't take care of myself, I can't give back to others. And by not doing that, I'm really being more selfish to those around me. So it's good to take time to relax and take time for yourself, and everybody around you will thank you.
Thank you so much for that response. And I want to say to Kathy, thanks a million for being here. And I'm very pleased to know a massage therapist with a good heart and great hands. So there you have it, everyone. Kathy Gordon. She is a licensed massage therapist, so take a look at her information and contact her if you have any questions. Stay put. Into the Mix is next. You are in for a real treat as I spin a wheel and address social media posts. Let's get started with Into the Mix. But before we do, take a look at cool prizes you can win as you submit posts via social media and get into the mix. Are you ready? Let's spin the wheel. The color is pink. This entry is from Francesca. Here's what she says. Self-care makes a lot of sense. I'm going through self-care right now. It is something I have to do to feel whole again. Thank you, Francesca, for your entry. And you are absolutely right. When it comes to our self-care, although sometimes we look to others and we look to other things, we are primarily responsible for taking care of ourselves. And sometimes we do have to come apart, set ourselves aside, retreat from the day-to-day and all of the things that we are responsible for to take care of ourselves. If you don't do it, who will? I thank you so much for your entry. Let's spin again, shall we? And the color is yellow. This is from an anonymous writer who states that I overextend myself, jumping in to save the day, and then I get angry. When this is happening, you want to ask yourself, are you really helping and are you really saving the day? Sometimes we can become a crutch for people, and what our idea of help is not really helping at all. In fact, I want you to consider this. If you think that you're helping someone and that person has not improved and they're continuously depending on you, are you really helping? Sometimes it will do us well to redefine what helping really is, so then that we can make some adjustments in our actions, and then you can see your anger subside. Thank you so much for your entry. Let's give the wheel a final spin. And the color is blue. This post is from jmaxc504@gmail.com. I am reading a book called The Four Agreements, and the author mentions how our earlier programming impacts how we think and decide today. If the way we think about self-care was programmed for us, how does one change previous programming? That is a very, very good question. And the way that you begin to reprogram yourself is the same way that you were programmed in the first place. And that is by taking new information in and pushing old information out, especially if it is not helpful and it is interfering with your self-care. Thank you for your entry. Thank you for joining me on Into the Mix with Crissy. I want you to post your comments so that you can be in the mix as well. Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you once again to our special guest, Kathy Gordon. I know you are already thinking differently about self-care. You now understand that self-care is not selfish. Your journey to a better you begins today. Take a look at the closing credits for ways to stay connected on In the Mix with Crissy. Until next time, enjoy the balance of your day.